Hello Taurus, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements looking at your recent past, your current energy, and your immediate future, answering the question, what do you need to know right now in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self? Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading, booking a personal reading or coaching session with me, or on my upcoming Attract the Love That You Deserve workshop can be found in the description box below. All right, Taurus. Let's jump on in. We're going to start with overall energy, the oracle cards first. So we're going to look at your recent past, current energy, and immediate future with oracle cards, and then we will dive deeper into the story with tarot as we progress. But let's first start here by looking at this recent past energy, Taurus. Recent past energy for Taurus. The end of a tough cycle approaches. So you've been dealing with a really difficult cycle, but I feel like this ending is approaching because of changes that you're making. This isn't just like, oh, it's time and a cycle is ending. This is very intentional energy. You're very close to achieving your goal. What do you need to release with emotions are running high? I feel like there's been a lot of stress and frustration in this energy. And what's interesting here is I actually feel like you were kind of pushed to some sort of, the best way that I can describe it is like a breaking point, like some sort of point where you were like, something needs to change. Like, I can't keep doing this, or I can't keep going through this, or I can't keep dealing with this. Something has to change. And what's kind of, what I'm feeling is a bit of a catch-22 about this is in pushing you to make certain changes, that's what has or is in the process of closing the cycle. But it's like you had to kind of experience something to realize that you didn't want to experience it anymore. So I don't know what this is about, but this is very interesting. And I feel like this is kind of like this energy of reclaiming your power in a way. Let's look at your current energy here for Taurus. Conclusions are within reach. Whoa, adjustments are required. I feel like I need one more. The energy is gaining momentum. I feel like these adjustments you've already made. Or you're in the process of making them. Yeah. So I feel like you already know what the adjustments are, like what is being asked of you. And that was kind of like getting pushed to a certain point where you made certain changes. I feel like you haven't experienced the payoff of this yet. You're still, because this is the thing. When we make certain changes, we almost immediately are met with resistance. And not because the universe is trying to hold us back or anything like that, but because the universe is a mirror. It's always mirroring back to us what we believe. And when we decide to act from different beliefs or to make different decisions, we experience the very resistance that kept us stuck in making certain decisions in the first place. So when we change habits, or we change behavior, we change patterns, or we walk away from something, like whatever resonates with you, you almost immediately get met with this resistance that makes you go, did I make the right choice? Or kind of resistance that makes you have to kind of double down on the decision. And as you move through that, first of all, I think having an awareness that that is just resistance, not a sign that you have made the wrong choice or anything like that. But second of all, as you move through that, that's how you level up your life. Because the fear that we have when we're met with resistance is the very thing that has kept us stuck. You know, we stay in places that don't serve us, or we act certain ways or carry certain habits and beliefs and patterns because it is so much easier to stay the same. When we start to make those changes, we face the fear. And then that fear is what we were actually avoiding by not making the change at all. So I've always kind of realized that when we make changes in our life, or we start to show up differently, or we make big decisions and we are met with that fear, I've learned to kind of in my own life look at it as a sign that I'm heading in the right direction in a way. It doesn't always feel good, but it can help with my approach to it, because it can help me go, okay, this is part of the process. You know, this is my fear trying to hold me back. I'm not going to listen to it. I'm going to move through it, and we're going to get to the other side. Because with this energy is gaining momentum, this is kind of this, it's like the Eight of Wands to me. So it's very much like forward momentum. Things are progressing. And it's progressing because of the changes that you're making, even if you haven't seen like the outward payoff of that yet. All right. What is Taurus needing to know moving forward? I get this energy that you've been hiding or playing small, or putting yourself in a box, or keeping quiet to avoid confrontation, like things like that. And I feel like this is about no longer doing those things. And that's why I kind of get that reclaiming your power energy. Believe in the impossible with work through your fears on the bottom. This outcome, that it's what you're looking for. A new start is coming. Dreams need a practical plan with meditate and contemplate here. I feel like this is that energy of balancing the spiritual and the practical. When you start to show up in practical ways, you have to remember that you are very spiritually guided and supported. The universe wants you to make positive changes. And I think a lot of times we think, why is the universe doing this to me, right? Like, why am I experiencing this resistance or these setbacks or whatever the case is? When in reality, if this universe is a mirror, then what you're actually experiencing is the resistance that already lives within you. The universe, your spiritual team, is trying to guide you through that resistance and to the other side. So to get where you want to go, to receive the outcome that you desire, having this awareness is really important, and making sure that you're being very intentional and discerning about your energy. Like, that's what I get with meditate and contemplate. Like, this isn't rushing into decisions. This is, especially in the midst of fear, in the midst of resistance, like not jumping to conclusions, not assuming things just because your fear looks a certain way, or you're experiencing certain circumstances, but really like moving through it with the faith and the belief that you are supported and guided. And that's what I feel because this very much feels like a miracle energy. And I use the word miracle because I think when we start to show up in our life differently, it feels like miracles are happening, but it's not actually miracles. It's that we're shifting, and therefore the mirror is shifting. And I think that that's a lot of what this energy is really about for you moving forward. So it feels very good. It feels very aligned. Here's the thing though, and this is what you're needing to know. It doesn't come without challenges, and it doesn't come without resistance. And I don't say that to scare you, and I don't say that to dishearten you or to make you feel discouraged. I say that so that when you're faced with obstacles and challenges and setbacks and resistance, you don't look at it as proof that things are going wrong. You're able to look at it and say, this is to be expected. When I'm leveling up my life, when I'm making better choices for myself or whatever the case might be, this is to be expected. Therefore, this is part of the journey. And I think being aware that resistance exists can help us move through it a little bit in like a smoother way, a smoother capacity. But let's look at the overall theme of this here. I was really drawn to this deck for this round of readings. And I've really liked it. This is the third reading I'm doing with it. I've really liked it in the first two, so we'll see here. Whoa. Overall theme of this reading for Taurus. That was way too many cards. I couldn't have taken all of this. We're looking for like one or two messages here. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if I'm familiar with this card. Okay, so you have liberation, and then on the bottom is resistance. This doesn't surprise me, and this card, I'm not familiar with it. It's Taub. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Give me just a second. When I use new decks, because I've thought I was more familiar with this deck than obviously it's coming out to be, but I feel like this card really came out for a reason. So it's my the Modern Nirvana Oracle deck. I'm gonna look really quick. I haven't done this in forever. Looked at a card. Okay. The quote that goes with it is, "It's not life that's complicated. It's the struggle to guide and control life. So go with the flow" is a piece of advice that may feel difficult to wrap our brains around, especially when things feel particularly challenging. How can we flow with the current of life when we may constantly feel as though we are treading water, attempting to avoid the riptide and doing whatever we can to stay afloat? So this really feels like survival mode. How can we establish a greater sense of trust when the ripple of reality feels overwhelming? Well, that is essentially, what this concept essentially means is to consciously let go of any resistance that may be occurring when it comes to trying to control the circumstances in our life, and to instead use the tools we have to navigate with faith. That's crazy. That's literally what I said. In Arabic, it translates to, "It is written." Okay, I actually love this. So the mantra is, I'm not going to read all of this. But, well, actually, I'm going to read this. This card is here to remind you that you have the power to chisel and shape your reality. Never forget that you already have all of the tools you need to do so. So how will you respond to what life brings your way? What is your decision? What will you build? And the mantra is, "I flow with fate, but also understand my conscious freedom to mold, shape, and create each day of my life. I choose to be an architect of experience, to embrace the wisdom of the mysterious and the sacredness of creation's light." Wow, that was crazy. This is like reading that sentence, like this is exactly what I said. So this is, I think, one of the most beautiful things that I've learned about life is that we are co-creators. But being a co-creator of your life doesn't mean that there aren't struggles, obstacles, challenges, setbacks. Like, what it means is that you are supported and guided through those, and that the more that you surrender to the belief that you're supported and guided, the easier it is to flow through it, the more solution-oriented you're going to be, and the less you're going to act from fear. We get ourselves stuck into cycles. We get ourselves stuck into places that don't align with what we deserve when we respond from fear. I understand why that card had to be pulled now. And then, liberation and then resistance. It's like learning not to resist but to flow. Not controlling but allowing, while also focusing on what is in your power. Which is, I feel like, what this was about. And that's what reclaiming your power is about, right? Where you stop settling, you start setting boundaries, you start making healthier choices. Yeah, that's focusing on what you can control, and the rest is surrendering to faith. This is really interesting reading. I like the way this is coming through. Let's dive into this a little bit more here, Taurus. Let's look at this past energy. You're very close to achieving your goal. The end of a tough cycle approaches. I knew I was feeling called to this deck for a reason. And I really thought I was familiar with every card, but I also feel like I needed to read the book for that. All right. Past energy for Taurus here. Eight of Swords. In reverse. I mean, this is my favorite card in tarot. This is liberation. This is freedom. This is breaking yourself free from cycles and dynamics and spaces that have been holding you back and keeping you stuck. This is power. The Moon. But there's a lot of fear associated with this. Especially because, I feel like for you, you were used to keeping yourself in a box or keeping yourself small. You've been taught, and that's what survival mode is. Doing certain things, the Knight of Pentacles, doing certain things that you think you have to do in order to survive. But when we start changing the way that we show up, when we stop coming from a place of survival and we start coming from a place of conscious intention, naturally that fear is going to arise because your ego only knows how to exist and survive the way that it already has. So your ego is going to go, wait, hang on. If we're not playing small, if we're not settling for less than what we deserve, if we're not, doing these things in order to survive, therefore, we might not be able to survive, right? Because your ego only knows what it can control. But that's the whole thing. That's what breaking yourself free is about. It's about realizing that you don't have to survive. You can make different decisions. You can show up in your authenticity. You can be honest about your needs, desires, and feelings. You can go after the things that you want. You don't have to settle. And when you fully embrace that fear that arises is not proof you're going the wrong way. In fact, and this is what I was trying to say at the beginning, it's often the very fear that you were avoiding by staying small and trapped in the first place. So this is liberation. This is freedom. You are setting yourself free from something, and it is powerful, Taurus. I don't know what this is, but something that's been holding you down, keeping you back, holding you stuck. It almost feels like this limit on your life. It's like it's opening. Like you thought it was a ceiling, it's opening, and you're going through it. Interesting. All right. Current energy here for Taurus. I think this is one of my favorite readings I've ever done for you guys. Whoa. Remember when I said the energy is gaining momentum, is giving me Eight of Wands energy? You have the Eight of Wands here. Then you have the Ace of Wands. I love this energy for you. Because this is, especially with the Seven of Pentacles, this is a commitment to, how do I say this? Commitment to moving forward. Like, that doesn't feel like it fully encapsulates what this message is, though. It's like commitment to, I'm not going back. I'm not doing those things. I'm not settling. I'm done with this. And here's the thing. You might be scared as hell. There might be a lot of unknowns around it. But the reason I like this energy so much is because you are so committed to it. And this is like, I'm not going back. Like, you've been playing small or staying in spaces that don't align with you for far too long. And certain things had to happen to push you into movement, which is okay. That's part of life. But I feel like something really sparked this. And really, like, especially at the Ace of Wands, I get like when you start a lighter or like light a match, it's like you see this spark. Like, that's what I'm getting with this Ace of Wands. Something really sparked this. And now I kind of feel like it's this forward momentum where it's like, oh, you better not get in Taurus's way. Like, Taurus isn't backing down or stopping for anything right now. So this is really powerful energy, which I know that you, like I've said a lot in this, but I feel like, I don't know, it's exciting. It has me feeling really excited for you guys. Justice, getting what you deserve. Reclaiming what is yours too. That's kind of also what I heard. Reclaiming what is yours. What has always been yours. This is the part of like I think, and I do not like the generalization of zodiac signs. I think we all have different aspects of, negative, positive traits, obviously depending on where things fall in our chart, but I don't like the generalization of like one trait. If you're a Taurus, you must have that trait. But one thing that I do think exists within Taurians is this stubbornness. And I think that this stubbornness can often be looked at in a negative way. And I think every trait can have a positive and a shadow aspect to it. But this is like that stubbornness in Taurus that is like, it's actually really beautiful and it's really admirable because it's like, it's very, I know who I am, I know what I want, I know where I'm going, and nothing's going to stand in my way. And that's the energy you're going to have to embody. And I think that, there are going to be days where it feels easier than others. And this is something that I know just from not reading tarot, but from being a human being, is that Some days it's going to feel easier than others. Some days you're going to feel more confident. Some days you're going to feel more self-assured. Some days you're going to feel, more faith-driven than others. And those days where you don't, not being hard on yourself, but also allowing yourself to understand that that is part of the journey too. I don't know. I just feel like this is so, I don't know what collective I'm speaking to. And that's another reason why I don't like the generalization of zodiac signs is, a Taurus reading doesn't apply to every single Taurus placement on Earth. It applies to a certain collective. And I think that whatever collective I'm speaking to, this reading is very like a long time coming for you guys. Is well deserving here. What does Taurus need to know moving forward? Believe in the impossible with meditate and contemplate. Let's see what we've got here. The Temperance. This is about patience. A reminder that not everything happens all at once. Knight of Swords. This is fast, busy energy, though. Maybe that's the balance. Moving forward without expectation. Because again, what I got, because there's the Four of Wands. This is kind of like a finish line energy, if you will, right? Like an idea of what it looks like when you get to a certain place. There's a need to make sure you find this balance. Because alignment doesn't equal immediate outcomes. And a lot of times, and this is where a lot of people go wrong, is they make the big decisions, and then when they don't see the immediate payoff, they go, oh, this wasn't worth it, or it's never going to happen, or I should have just, stayed where I was or did what I was doing. And this is where I feel the message is really important right now, is you are in such a powerful energy. And I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with that. Yes, absolutely, keep embodying that as much as you can. But what you need to know is that eventually there are going to be ebbs and flows in your journey. Eventually, you're going to experience things aren't working out, frustration, setbacks, obstacles, and challenges. And I don't say that to be negative. I think people are like, oh, you're telling me negative things are going to happen. I don't think obstacles and challenges and setbacks are negative. I think they are opportunities for us to be the person that we say that we are and to rise to the challenge of the life that we're trying to build. I've actually learned to look at obstacles and challenges and setbacks as a good thing, not because it feels good, but because they're opportunities. And I think that having an understanding, that not everything is going to happen immediately, making big changes doesn't lead to immediate results, is important. Because whenever the initial excitement wears off and you're not seeing results, you are going to feel tempted to go back to the beginning. And this is like, you can kind of apply it to like a fitness journey, right? In the beginning of a fitness journey, you're motivated and you're excited and let's go, and you're in the gym for a few weeks and again, you're feeling good, but then a month or two goes by and that motivation is starting to wear off, but you're not totally seeing results yet. This right here, whether you're talking about a fitness journey, a manifestation journey, building a business, whatever it is, this is the make or break point for a lot of people, because that is when you commit to the path that you're on rather than give up because things aren't working out as planned. And having this awareness is really important, again, because when it happens, you can sit there and you can go, okay, I recognize that I don't see the results that I want. I feel a temptation to go backwards or to pull back, to shrink, to play small, whatever. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to commit to the version of my life that I'm trying to. And that's what, I interrupted myself. I was going to say commit to the version of life I'm trying to create. And that's what I feel this card was for, because this was really about going with the flow through resistance, through obstacles and setbacks and challenges and time delays and all of that with faith. Approaching it with, this is working out. I deserve good things. I deserve to get to where I want to be. So, yeah. And that's why it's like, I don't do future readings. I don't sit here and say, this is exactly what's going to happen and how it's going to play out. Because again, generalization for a collective is, I think, can be very dangerous. But second of all, your future is yours to co-create. And what's possible for you is possible for everyone. You can have the life that you desire. You can have the outcomes that you desire. It's about how you show up. That's what creates it, though. So you can have two different Tauruses. You can have the version of, the one Taurus that gets to that point of resistance on their journey, gives up, throws in the towel, goes back to old cycles. They're not going to get here, right? But then you can have the Taurus that is aware of this resistance, that chooses to commit to the path moving forward and overcomes that resistance, right? That's the difference. And that's why it's not like this is or isn't going to happen. That's why this future energy is so focused on guidance, because it's like being aware of these things can help you show up in a more conscious way, which can help create better results. But we're going to dive more into this in the extended, where we are going to look at what you need to do right now in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self. So looking at tangible advice through tarot, and then I've got an advice card to pull at the very end. Before I hop on over to the extended, I do want to reiterate that I am hosting my How to Attract the Love That You Deserve workshop on February 20th, a week from Friday. So I think, this is going out today, a week from today, at 6 p.m. Central Time. It is a live workshop. However, if you cannot attend live but still wish to be a part of it, if you purchase a ticket, you will receive both access to the live event as well as the replay and all of the materials the very next day. So I am very excited about this workshop, and obviously I hope to see you guys there. So thank you so much, Taurus, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing, and I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Taurus.